Hello, I'm Johnny, and today's topic is about the Lakers, Clippers, and Heat pulling off upsets, and Kawhi Leonard switching to playoff mode.
No best.
First, let's talk about the Warriors. After losing to the Kings yesterday, they must win the second game of the series, otherwise, the pressure of being 0-2 when returning home will be immense. The latest news reveals that Jordan Poole, who averages 20 points per game this season, may not play tomorrow due to discomfort in his left ankle. If he can play, the pressure on the Warriors will be somewhat relieved, as the team needs his scoring. However, if he cannot, the key will lie with Donte DiVincenzo and Payton too. In other words, other players must provide more firepower support to Andrew Wiggins and the Splash Brothers. Keep this information in mind as we move forward. Before diving into the games, please give this video a thumbs up. Your encouragement is our greatest motivation to create content. Thank you. Let's first focus on the Bucks versus Heat game. The Bucks are considered championship favorites this year, while the Heat only secured their playoff spot on the final day. There is a gap in team strength between the two, but today, the Heat, led by Jimmy Butler with 35 points, defeated the Bucks 130-117, taking a 1-0 lead in the series. In other words, from the Heat's perspective, their initial goal has been accomplished. Regardless of whether the Heat win or lose the second game, they have at least regained home court advantage. Therefore, the pressure now lies on the Bucks. During this game, the Bucks' Giannis Antetokounmpo got injured in the first quarter when he landed after a layup attempt, hurting his back. He only played for 10 minutes, but the good news is that after a checkup, there seems to be no significant issue. However, since the team lost this game, there might not be room for him to rest, which is a bit troubling. Speaking of injuries, the Heat's Tyler Herro also got injured in this game, suffering fractures in his right hand's middle and ring fingers. He's expected to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. In other words, the Heat need to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals for Herro to return in time, which is a considerable blow for them. This season, Herro has an average of 20 points per game. However, the Heat have plenty of backcourt players, including Kyle Lowry and Max Strus. Don't forget that they also have a shooter named Duncan Robinson, who is currently out of the rotation. With Herro's injury, Robinson should get some playing time. The key to the Heat's victory in this game, without Herro in the second half, were Butler and Bam Adebayo, who scored 17 points in the second half. I personally want to talk about Kevin Love, because even though Giannis was injured, the Bucks still have Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis on the court. This means Love can be utilized more. In this game, he scored 18 points, including 4 three-pointers. Whether he starts or not, he needs to play more against the Bucks' tall lineup, or the Heat will be at a disadvantage in the paint. Although the Bucks are currently down 0-1, as long as Giannis isn't seriously injured, I think the Bucks still have the upper hand. Chris Middleton scored 33 points in this game, and he needs to keep it up, as Giannis' condition remains uncertain. Now, let's talk about the Lakers and Grizzlies. At the end of the third quarter, the Lakers led 96-90. In the middle of the fourth quarter, after LeBron James, LBJ, made a three-pointer, the Lakers led 108-101. At this point, Ja Morant had already left the game due to injury, leaving Jaren Jackson Jr., JJJ, and Dillon Brooks as the main players on the court for the Grizzlies. These two players combined to score 11 points, and when JJJ made a three-pointer, the Grizzlies closed the gap to just 1 point behind the Lakers. However, Lakers fans' favorite, Austin Reeves, AR, stepped up at this crucial moment. In 3 consecutive offensive plays, he cooperated with Anthony Davis, AD, forming the so-called double-A connection. Whether it was cutting in, shooting threes, or mid-range jumpers, he could score. In the end, the Lakers won 128-112 on the road, taking a 1-0 lead in the series. In other words, the pressure is now on the Grizzlies. Aside from AR, Rui Hachimura's performance off the bench was also a key factor in the Lakers' victory. He scored 29 points in this game. In the early part of the fourth quarter, he used his speed to get past the defensively strong JJJ. Hachimura also utilized his height advantage against Desmond Bane in the post, and with AR's excellent pass, Hachimura easily made an outside shot. With Hachimura's outstanding performance, even though neither AD nor LBJ scored more than 23 points, the Lakers still managed to secure the win. How great was Hachimura's performance? Grizzlies' Desmond Bane said in a post-game interview, "Let's see if he can do it again in the next game." In other words, even Bane didn't expect Hachimura to perform so well. Regardless, congratulations to Lakers fans on the victory. On the Grizzlies' side, JJJ scored a team-high 31 points, and Desmond Bane added 22 points. Now,
Besides monitoring Ja Morant's injury, we've mentioned in previous analyses that the Grizzlies have enough personnel in the paint, but lack experience. Today, 6 feet 11 inches Sandy Aldama contributed 8 points off the bench, but his plus-minus was -23. JJJ must avoid foul trouble, and the Lakers should continue attacking the Grizzlies' paint. Finally, let's talk about AR. In the final moments of the fourth quarter, several offensive plays centered around him. This is actually a good thing for the Lakers. In fact, during LBJ's injury, AR and AD had many pick-and-roll collaborations. We've mentioned in previous videos that when LBJ returns to the court, he should try to adapt to his teammates' playing style to make things easier for himself. Today, fans saw AR's capabilities again. Scoring 23 points in the game, he's becoming the team's third star. Hopefully, he can maintain this level of performance because I'm curious about how the Lakers will handle his contract in the offseason. In my opinion, the better he plays, the harder it will be to retain him. Let's see how it unfolds together. Let's now turn our attention to the Suns vs Clippers game, which was the most exciting match of the day. Both teams fought until the very end, with the Clippers ultimately defeating the Suns 115-110 on the road. The Clippers, without PG, now lead the series 1-0. In our previous analysis, we mentioned that although KD is a challenge for the Clippers, cute Luka Doncic is also a problem for the Suns. In this game, Cute scored 38 points. Let's take a look at his performance. Cute faced KD's defense and shot a mid-range jumper. To be honest, KD's defense was already very good. Cute also scored against Devin Booker's defense. In these two plays, the Suns didn't double-team, and Cute managed to score both times. Westbrook then assisted Cute in scoring a three-pointer. More importantly, Cute was on fire today. When he went one-on-one with CP3 near the end of the game, the Suns had to double-team, almost causing a turnover. Cute still managed to pass the ball to Eric Gordon on the outside, who sank a three-pointer. Cute officially entered playoff mode today, which is necessary because Clippers fans have been waiting for this for a long time. Additionally, Westbrook's block on Devin Booker in the clutch was key. Even though the Suns had over 20 points from Torrey Craig, KD, and Devin Booker, they still lost the game. In other words, the Suns must win Game 2. It's worth noting that today was KD's first loss since joining the Suns. During the regular season, the Suns were 8-0 when he played. The key to the Clippers' victory, aside from Cute, was the bench unit contributing 34 points. As for the Suns, their bench only scored 10 points. The Suns also allowed the Clippers to grab 15 offensive rebounds, with Westbrook's 2 offensive boards in the final quarter being particularly crucial. These included an assist for Cute's three-pointer, which resulted from Westbrook's offensive rebound. Despite shooting 3 of 19 and only scoring 9 points with 8 assists, Westbrook's rebounds and defense were another key factor in the Clippers' victory. He grabbed 5 offensive rebounds in the game. Veteran Eric Gordon scored 19 points, including 3 three-pointers, while Mason Plumlee contributed 7 points and 11 rebounds off the bench. Congratulations to Clippers fans on the win. As for the Suns, their bench was already weaker than the Clippers, but in my opinion, Coach Monty Williams should still utilize the bench players more. In today's game, only Landry Shamet had more than 10 minutes of playing time from the bench. In short, the Suns were relying too heavily on their starters. Monty Williams' adjustments will be interesting to watch in the coming games. Torrey Craig, originally a bench player, started today and scored an impressive 22 points. Finally, let's look at the Nuggets vs Timberwolves game. This was the only game today with a significant point difference and the only one where the higher-seeded team won. The other games, including the Heat, Lakers, and Clippers, were all upsets. The Nuggets led by just 11 points at halftime, 55-44. However, they went on a 32-14 run in the third quarter, entering the fourth quarter with a 29-point lead. The Timberwolves pulled their starters midway through the fourth quarter, which was the right move. Since the first 2 games were on the road, as long as the Timberwolves win the next game, they will break the Nuggets' home court advantage, so giving their starters some extra rest is not a problem. In the end, the Nuggets easily won the first game of the series with a 109-80 victory. In this game, Rudy Gobert had a plus-minus of -28, the worst on the team, which will certainly spark some discussion. However, I believe we should watch 1 or 2 more games before drawing conclusions. The Nuggets had a 41% 3P% today, and in some cases, Gobert was in the right position but still couldn't prevent the shot. For example, in this play, Gobert was in place, but the opponent still jumped and shot. In another play, there was a lack of communication about whether to switch or not, which allowed Jamal Murray to have a wide-open shot. In my opinion, with KAT in the paint, there's no need for Gobert to retreat so much.
As we discussed in our previous analysis, it's more important to see how the coach utilizes the Twin Towers rather than if the Timberwolves can pull off an upset. This is something that Chris Finch will need to adjust in the coming games. The effectiveness of the Twin Towers must be determined during this year's playoffs because, during the offseason, the front office will face the issue of backup center Naz Reid's contract. In this game, Jamal Murray scored 24 points, while Nikola Jokic only played 28 minutes before resting. There was also some conflict between the teams near the end of the third quarter, but fortunately, it didn't escalate. Congratulations to the winning teams today. The next game to watch is the Kings vs. Warriors. Will the series be 2-0 or 1-1? Let's find out together.